Smelly and Jack have a tale about their brother who's the same as them, Digby. Must have got a family. Smelly and Jack's tale of Digby. We have a brother you haven't met today, said Jack to Percy, who invited him and his brother Smelly to Sloping Lane Docks. The last time in the 90s we saw him running off without telling us. He was a loner engine like us. He left because when things were growing very rough in the other railway. We decided to leave. One of the first jobs were working at the mine, where they always work. What was Digby doing? Asked Percy. Well, said Smelly. He suddenly paused and then said, he was never seen from us for many years. You see, and he went to work in Wales. He didn't tell us where he went because he knew if he told us, we would get in trouble, the three of us. What was he doing in Wales? Asked Percy. Smelly paused again. He went to work in Wales. We got his letter with us, see? Oh, that's been with you for many years. Yes, and we now know he's safe. Let's hear the tale of yours. So, Smelly began. Once upon a time, there were 3 little engines. Their names were Digby, Jack, and Smelly. Their home was a coal mine. They worked in it for years and had no trouble at all, except for one thing. The chairman, Dr. Bevan Beeching, was wanting to scrap the engines because their working place was just useless in his opinion. He tried to threat one of them, but always disappointed because they know him and his work was just always too far. Digby, the oldest of the 3, was a magic engine and was always throwing Dr. Beeching out. Doing this lots of times got him very mindless angry, and what has to end was to leave their first home. Listen, guys, said Digby. Dr. Beeching is trying to force us to leave this coal mine. He thinks it's useless in his opinion. But it's not useless, said Smelly. We've worked here for many years. That was the day when he wasn't elected as chairman. Said Jack, who was also the oldest of the 3. That's what I meant, and when I was doing my share taking the coal to the docks for one of the ships, there was a fight. An A4 engine told me it's not the fight they were causing, it's some person of hatred. That's what she told me. Oh dear. All this fight is a puzzle, said Digby. We're to work with diesels, not be enemies to them. I've got an idea to get us out of this mess and forget about Dr. Bevan Beeching's threats to us. I know a place that can be peaceful and to get away from this other railway. What place? Asked Jack and Smelly. Just a minute. Digby looked round and told them they should keep the plan a secret and not get found. He told them where they can live for the years to come. You're to live in Australia, and I'm to remain in the UK to find better life with no fighting. What will you do? Asked Jack. I'm afraid I can't tell you. We'll meet again when I have the time to get to Australia. He's right. He's got something to keep to himself before telling us. That night, the engines, Jack and Smelly, left for Australia. Look after yourselves, called Digby. The next day, Digby decided to close the mine. He checked to see if the coast was clear, but there was no sign of Dr. Beeching. He knew as well. He visited this railway lots of times, but he hadn't had some explanation of what he was doing. You see, he was born in secret too. Jack and Smelly were born normal. He wanted to see them, but he refused to show them to him because he claimed he worked here himself with no company. That was a lie, he told him. Boy, it got him angry, mindless. Right. Time to end this madness. To end it, I'm to leave this coal mine without a trace, he told himself. Having said that in his mind, which he made up, he set off to the Welsh country where Dr. Beeching wouldn't find him. Digby arrived at the Welsh seaside. It seemed a quiet and safe place, but to his disappointment he could see it was abandoned, and what was left was a shed. He explored the railway before resting in the shed. Even everything was the same. It seemed to him that this place had been used lots of times and had bad things had been happening. He explored every place till it was 11 a.m. He came back to the empty shed. All day long Digby kept himself hidden in the shed in case any wrong somebody was to hunt him down. He felt sad that he hadn't found something good to work in and live in for the years to come. When 1 p.m. came, Digby knew it was time for him to leave the UK and never come back to it. He looked around first to see if Dr. Beeching would come here. He had been in his dream, reading his mind, saying he came here some years ago to insult an engine that left to live in Australia a long time ago. He knew an engine that was born in 1924 who moved to Australia, a quiet country called Tanner, where he worked. He brought food and children drinks, but all that was sinking, and he had one coach, and that was my engine friend, who I met with my family, wee Georgia Wood. He was lucky to leave England because Dr. Beeching was mocking, threatening him for no reason, when he visited her for no reason. But the first driver who owned him was shooing him off. He never wanted him mocking their half-born engine. He was only a child, Dr. Beeching, you'll see, and he wanted to be chairman. He wouldn't have a curve which was turning him into a mystery criminal. Tasmania likes having wee Georgia Wood because he's its friend, Digby murmured to himself. Right, time to move to Tasmania. I want to reunite with my brothers so I can tell my tale. So Digby started to find Tasmania on the main line, making his journey. It was a long trip, but he didn't mind. He had a drink and took a bag of coal. He was steaming all by himself. The sky was full of clouds, and the rain was falling. He kept his light on, looking where he was going. It was 7 p.m. when he was getting tired. He was needing to rest his wheels. He looked round to see if he could shelter. There's a shed. It looks old, with a few leaks, but it might do, he told himself. So he fell asleep. The next morning, he noticed he was in a railway that was never used. He wondered if he found new life, but he reminded himself he was still in the UK, and he needed to get to Tasmania. He came to the junction he went to at night. Again, he switched them back to the main line. Suddenly, he heard someone coming. Oh no! It's Dr. Beeching. He must have known I've escaped without trace. He steamed off very quickly. He ran on and on until he came across a set of points. He was in luck. A sign said, to the tunnel in the hill. He made it in secret without telling anyone. He steamed up the hill to find it. He found it. "Oh, goodbye, England. I hope you'll behave if I ever visit it," he said out loud. He steamed through the magic tunnel. And in a flash, he arrived in Tasmania. He was safe at last. He went to find a shed to rest, so he could wait till someone can find him. Percy was silent. Wow, where did he go? Oh, well, his last line in the letter says he's somewhere in Sloping Maine. You might find him here. I think I might.